Hi, my friends. I just wanted to talk about unseen disability. People with obvious disabilities get some special accommodations and they're very well entitled to it. But if you have an unseen disability, maybe there's not as much sympathy. I'm not asking for sympathy. Those of you who suffer from narcolepsy or cataplexy know precisely what I'm talking about. Cataplexy is a extraordinarily difficult condition to deal with because there's no cure. They don't really even know what causes it. Maybe genetic, maybe a autoimmune response to vaccines or to some other viral or bacterial infection that triggers your immune system to attack the hypocretin producing areas of your brain. And if that's what the condition is, they're proposing gene therapy, but they're all just guessing. I caught one of my neurologists in an unguarded moment and said, "You're all just guessing, aren't you?" And he admitted that they are. So the only treatment that I know of is date rape. If you're not into taking a Schedule 4 narcotic, I think one of the trade names is Xerum, but on the street, it's known as roofies. And if you're not predisposed to be a lifetime loyalty customer to a pharmaceutical company for a Schedule 4 narcotic, and you don't want to take roofies twice a night for the rest of your life, then maybe you're more aligned with my sensibilities. I've been trying to take a holistic approach and focus on sleep hygiene and nutritive aspects to help my body cope with this condition. But I've been diagnosed for 7 years now, and I was very relieved to get a diagnosis, because when I got shocked or surprised or was emotive, to have a partial collapse or a total collapse where I hit the ground and get injured, it was intolerable, and I didn't know why it was happening. I had a confrontation wherein I was trying to bust a liar who wouldn't own their misgivings, and so I just kept insisting, and then suddenly I lost posture and hit the ground. And I thought to myself while I was lying there trying to get up, "Oh, you can't get your way, so let's just throw a fit. Let's just fall on the ground and flail around like a toddler who can't get their way." But the reason I was flailing is because when cataplexy hits you, the signal to your muscles sort of flickers out like an old refrigerator light bulb, and then it flickers back on again when the episode has passed. And normally for me it passes in 45 seconds or a minute, and so then I can recover and get up on my own. Finally, when I got diagnosed, the doctor said, "Just let your friends know. It's safer for you to get up on your own." Inside, I was screaming, "Help me up, help me up." But it's best to wait until the episode has passed, until you get 100% of the signal from your brain to your muscles to stand up and to carry on. And so I've learned to do that. And my close friends, anybody who spends any time with me, I give them the lecture. I've got cataplexy. Something startling could trigger it. Laughter, levity, not even boisterous laughter. Somebody laughing at the table next to me in the restaurant could knock me out of my chair like a wrecking ball. It doesn't have to be boisterous laughter, even lighthearted levity. Even if I'm not the one initiating it, it could be, if I can sense it, it could trigger me. More often than not, it doesn't. So I mean, if I can go 2 or 3 days without any symptoms, I default to my healthy mensch go-to guy mode, because I lived my whole life without these symptoms, or so I thought. I did tend to get weak in the knees when there was laughter. We told jokes, or I told a joke, somebody cracked a joke, my knees would get watery. But I grew up thinking that was everybody. Maybe your knees got a little watery when you started laughing, because people would, when they laughed, they would shift their weight and kind of move around. So I assumed everybody got weak knees when they laughed, but that's not the case. And cataplexy symptoms were so rare and so far in between that I didn't perceive a pattern until I was age 50 and went through a terribly traumatic, stressful period where the stress wouldn't relent and it exacerbated my condition. And I began to collapse frequently. I had to stop driving. I had to stop climbing to heights where I could fall and get hurt. And I was undiagnosed. So until I got my diagnosis, I was really in a bind. So I know a lot of you have been through the same thing. I was able to search back to my earliest memories for any evidence of cataplexy, and I do remember at age 8 where this brutish, overbearing adult grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me. Now, I didn't pass out. I lost posture completely, but my eyes were open. I was acutely alert and aware of what was happening. I was incapacitated, and I fell into a little puddle on the floor, and that was at age 8. So that's why I suspect that I've had this condition my entire life. So here I am in age trying to cope with an unseen disability, and it's quite compromising. I mean, I've had to make some serious life adjustments to cope with this. And I want to ask you guys to send me advice. Tell me what you're doing, how you live with this condition. I mean, if you're taking that sodium oxybate to cope with symptoms, I'm cheering you on. It's just not my default mode. I've heard some of you have gotten your driver's license back and you've gotten your life back, and you can cope because you've got this pharmaceutical intervention. And there have been times when I was so desperate to have a normal life or even just a normal sleep session that I would be willing, to take roofies. But I'm not there yet. It could happen. But please, get in touch with me. I'm John Scott Benson. You can email me or just respond to this YouTube video. So I'd be super grateful to hear how you're coping. Thanks.